everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. In this daily editorial, introducing a new company to the show, and also a company that was just listed on the Venture Exchange back in early August. Borealis Mining, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol BOGO. Company is focused at the Borealis Mine in Nevada. There's some historic production here. The company's even pouring gold. Currently, we just had news of the second gold pour from 2024. But the story here is to expand the resource and continue to de-risk this overall project. We'll get into project overview as well as the team, which has a lot of well-known individuals. I am chatting right now with Kelly Malcolm, the president and CEO of Borealis Mining. Kelly, as I always like to do, start off with the underlying asset here. Let's talk about this Borealis mine. As I said, there was some historical production up into, I believe, 1990. Some minor production recommenced over the last few years. But look, this story is about now this company tying together this asset and continuing to grow the asset. Give us a little bit of background on this Borealis mine and how you managed to tie it up under Borealis Mining, please.
Sure. Thanks, Corey. That was a cool introduction. I love it. So Borealis Mining is a newly listed company, as you mentioned, but we picked up this project in April of 2023. So we've had it in our hands for a little bit of time now, over a year, but have been looking at it for much longer than that. The things that really got me excited about it are it is a past producer and a past cash generator. It did over 600,000 ounces historically from oxide heap leach mining. It's in Nevada. That also ticked one of our boxes. It's got a historical from 2011 resource base of better than 1.8 million ounces. And I think it's got real potential to grow. So those are kind of the things that turned me on to it when we were looking for it. And then when we started the negotiation process, I think we got quite a good deal on the asset too as well. So basically bought it for $5.1 million, of which 5 of that 5.1 was issued in shares. So those are the main things that really got me excited about it.
Okay, let's talk about the company's plan then to move this asset forward. You outline a 2-year plan here. Step 1 is drill to expand the resource. Step 2 is exploration drilling, both proximal to resource and new targets. Let's start with the drill plans. What's being drilled? When will we see some results?
Sure. So we are drilling. We've been drilling. We're waiting on results. We're looking forward to seeing what comes out of the ground. The nice thing about this, in contrast with other projects out there, is we know there's gold. We're not hoping that we're going to get gold. The question is rather, how big is it going to be? How good is the grade going to be? And what's it doing to our overall evaluation of the project? So this year, our major focus is a bit of confirmatory work. It's also expansion of the known resources, and I advise your listeners to check out our site, check out Verify. We've got a number of different really detailed technical interviews on our website as well, where we look at some of these existing deposits, and you can see it quite evidently that there's a number of these deposits that are wide open for growth and wide open for exploration and wide open for expansion. The bigger picture, which is the real exploration to identify new gold deposits, is underway, although we haven't yet started attacking that with the drill bit. The reason for that is we acquired, when we bought the project, boxes and hard drives and floppy disks and CDs full of data. So we spent a fair bit of money, better than $200,000 in the past few months, on a big compilation of all of that different data, with the end objective of having a single data set of modern digitized data that we can then define our big drilling program for. So hoping to get all that data compilation work done in the next month or two, and that'll guide the big growth in the future, Corey.
So let's recap that historic resource from 2021, because you mentioned 1.8 million ounces of gold. That's in the M&I category. I'm seeing also inferred resource of almost 200,000 ounces of gold. That inferred category is much lower grade, 0.34 grams per ton gold. The measured and indicated is over a gram. It's 1.28 grams per ton gold. What makes up this resource? Give us a little bit more of a background on that, please.
Sure. So the inferred one, which is quite low grade, and again, this is a super double disclaimer. This is from 2011. It's not ours. And the exchange made that very obvious when we were applying for application. So we will at one point come out with an updated resource statement. But yeah, from that 2011 document, the inferred resource, which is around zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.4, is largely made up of old workings. So old dumps, old leach pads, with the intent of essentially just reprocessing them with a bit of cyanide application. The M&I stuff is well drilled off, much of which is either within or around existing open pits. There's a combination of oxide, transition, and sulfide ore. And for your listeners that may be new to the Nevada gold space, oxide is by and far the preferred typology of ore in Nevada because for the most part, it can be treated with heap leaching applications. And then sulfide mineralization, particularly in Nevada and the southwest of the USA, is often refractory. So you have to do a few more things to treat the ore in order to process the gold. So your costs for development can be a little bit higher in the sulfide, whereas they can be very low in oxide ore. So of that M&I, let's call it roughly half is within that refractory sulfide, a quarter of it within pure play oxide, and then let's call it another quarter in transition material, some of which can be treated on a heap leach pad and some of which needs to be treated elsewhere.
So with the drilling that's ongoing now and the plans to expand on the resource, what type of material are you focusing on?
A bit of both. So oftentimes, or certainly in the past, you would ignore these sulfide bodies just because they can be more expensive. However, the grades and the widths drilled on this system were pretty darn spectacular. And the best hole that was drilled in that sulfide body was 67 meters of 16 plus grams per ton. I don't care what it's in. When you have gold that high grade and over that thick of a width, there is value there 100%. So we'll do a bit of work on that. There has been some network done. We know that it's recoverable gold. So we'll do some work on that. We're also doing some RC work on the existing oxide deposits, Corey, looking to expand those too. So a bit of both. We're just looking for value and identifying, trying to unlock the value of the project. And we're not shying away from everything. So we're genuinely poking holes into every little facet of the property.
Okay, let's get a little bit more information on the historic production. You already outlined some of it there, but also this permitted gold mine and also the processing facility. Take us through, again, a little bit more of the history and what you stand with now in terms of permits and the facility.
So I'm sure whenever you have people on, you have to talk about the infrastructure. We're close to a highway, we're close to a town, whatever. This is a fully ready to rock mine. In terms of permits, we have everything in place to resume full-scale commercial production at Borealis today. We've got a substation on site, we've got water wells, we've got a full ADR facility where we do pour gold, we've got crushing permits, we've got air quality permits. We literally have a fully and 100% permitted mine site with 100% built and ready to rock infrastructure. So we acquired, and again, this is pretty forward looking because we've not done the exact rebuild. I would say there's no less than $50+ million in replacement infrastructure. And if you think about the broader base, if this was a brand new discovery, on top of just the actual infrastructure itself, putting in the roads, putting in the drilling, let alone all the permit work, you're looking at well over $80-90 million of value that we acquired for the 5.1 million.
Now, on top of this 2-year plan, following up on points 1 and 2, which is drilling focused, you also have some optimization going on, metallurgy and balancing mining, refining operations. What sort of work, when is this work going to happen?
So much of it has happened, particularly in terms of metallurgy. So we did a desktop study as when we were a private company. Actually, we did lots of this as a private company. We did plenty of work to prepare the company to go public. But two of the things we did were a pretty detailed desktop study. So we got some metallurgists to review all of the historical documents, see which ones were valid, see which ones still held water, to give us a good handle on the overall project and its merits. And we also did, we haven't really talked about this, but it's more for near-term cash flow. There's a large stockpile as well, Corey, right beside the heap leach pad of better than 300,000 tons that contains good mineralization. So we took a 10-ton bulk sample of that material from 10 different spots, basically 1 ton from 10 different spots across that large stockpile, and shipped them off to a metallurgist to both understand the grade of the body, but also to understand how well it can and will be treated. The next step for metallurgy is further refinement on the sulfide mineralization. And in terms of refining the mining operations, we have a team, a mine building team or a mining team internally that is looking at the mineralization in the different permanent areas and making a mine plan to essentially extract value from the ground and generate revenue, which in turn will go back into the ground to look for new additional gold deposits. And sadly, because the resource base is not current, we won't be able to publish the works from that, but we will be able to, because of the permits, start mining one day, Corey, and I'm looking forward to reporting the proceeds basically of that operation to the market.
Okay, Kelly, give us some more information then on the most recent news releases. What we've seen out of Borealis is approval to list on the TSX Venture, and shortly after that, the first gold pour. And then even today, we had the second gold pour of 2024. I know that this shouldn't be focused on as the main catalyst for the company, but it will generate some profits for you. So how should investors balance out that, look, this is still exploration drilling focus, but you are pouring gold?
Yeah, so we've got a different mindset than many other TSX venture companies. If you look, we actually had a banker, an investment banker, do this search for me recently, um, to look at how many venture issuers are actually generating revenue, and the number is staggeringly low. Oftentimes, we call them mining companies, but it's really exploration companies. Their objective is to identify a resource base, define it, sell the company at a premium. And don't get me wrong, that's a fantastic business plan that works when you have a fantastic discovery. But for many people, that dream doesn't actually get realized, and the company has something nice, and then it falls, falters, etc. We're looking at things a little bit differently in that we're trying to build a business. So yes, the drilling is very important to us. The exploration is very important to us, but it's all because it applies to the fundamentals that we will be generating in terms of actually making a cash flowing operation. We're also looking pretty darn aggressively at different opportunities throughout the state because I don't think that the market, or at least the equity market, is caught up anywhere close to where the price of gold currently is. I think there's really great opportunities out there. So looking at a number of different things there. So in terms of what kind of news flow to expect from us, Corey, I guess that's getting back to your question.
So yeah, we've put out, like you said, three releases so far as a pubco since August 7th, which was go public. We poured some gold. Obviously, there's some other stuff that was in those releases that is quite important too. But in terms of the overall strategy, the company and the grand vision, it's a combination of growth by drilling. Another facet that we are working on, although there's been no news on, of course, is growth through acquisition and also revenue generation. So we're looking at building a mining company, or in contrast with pure play exploration play. So we're looking to actually build a cash flow positive business. So we're going to have a kind of really interesting mixed bag of news releases as we advance the company forward, focused on, yes, exploration drilling, yes, production drilling, also gold pouring and revenue generation, and also hopefully, depending on what we can get done, some M&A type stuff as we look to grow the company. So there should be lots of fun news for your audience to look forward to.
Okay, a lot for us to follow up on then. Let's now shift over to the team. So your first time on the show here, Kelly. Let's get a little background on yourself. I know a number of the team members quite well, but just for our audience, please highlight one or two other people.
Sure. So yeah, myself, I'm an exploration geologist with also a finance degree. Worked the past 5 years with a company called Amex Exploration. We identified from basically nothing to 1.6 plus million ounces of gold. That resource came out a few weeks ago. They're looking to put a PEA out, but I'm very excited to see the result of that study. And prior to that, I was with some larger gold producers, including Detour Gold, St. Andrew Goldfields, and I'm on the board of a couple great companies, one of which is Hercules Silver, which I'm sure many of your listeners would be familiar with. In terms of our team, the biggest names I would say would be Tony McCooch, who is our chair, and he recently sold as president of Lake Gold to Agnico Eagle for over $14 billion. We've also got Bob Bucket on the board. Bob is the founder and previous president of Kinross Gold, and it's actually quite relevant to this story. He built Kinross from a single asset company through to the third largest gold producer in the world when he retired in 2004. Also there, Rich Patricio, co-founder of NextGen, Christina McCarthy, who recently built and sold the company Paycore Minerals to i-80 Gold, and Greg Gibson, who worked as president of Jerritt Canyon Mining, along with Eric Sprott, to sell that to First Majestic Silver. So long and short of it is we've got a team that, at least on the director level, that has built, sold, and made big returns for shareholders in the mining company.
All right, before I get you out of here, Kelly, we'll knock off a couple other company fundamentals. Share structure-wise, about 83 million shares outstanding on a fully diluted basis. Just over 100 million shares, about 103 million fully diluted. Take us through the allocation, any key insiders we should know about, and also where the company stands in terms of cash to move these growth plans forward.
Sure. So we've got, like I said, 83 million. I own better than 4 million shares myself of the company. Our biggest shareholder is Rob McEwen. So he holds about 16.5% or so of Borealis. He got his allocation through the purchase of the entirety of the vendor of Borealis's position. So when we did the transaction here, Corey, it was, like, as I mentioned earlier, $100,000 cash and roughly $5 million worth of shares. And that was owing to a company called Waterton. Rob McEwen picked up that whole block, so they're out, Rob's in. Other big notable shareholders include Eric Sprott has a large position, a number of different funds, including Earth Labs, Equinox Partners. There's a bunch of really good, intelligent mining funds that own big positions. And the balance of the management team, aside from myself, has roughly 10% of the overall float too.
All right. Kelly Malcolm, President and CEO of Borealis Mining, again, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol BOGO. This is the new company that I wanted to bring to all of your attention. Please click the link in the show notes to visit the Borealis Mining website to learn more about the company and the project, and send me any questions you have for Kelly. I will get those addressed for you. Kelly, thank you very much for this introduction.
My pleasure. Thanks.